All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another Tattooed Reactions video. Now, this one is a video that is shocking. Now, there's this thing on TikTok that I've noticed. Haven't noticed it on Instagram so much, but on TikTok, where there are these dudes who actually believe that they're the second coming of Jesus. Like, they actually believe that about themselves. And what's fascinating and kind of concerning is that they have massive followings and their videos go viral. Like, who's following these guys? And are they following them because they want to be entertained? Or do they actually believe them? Because when you read some of the comments, it's like, man, they actually think and agree with what these guys are saying about themselves. And so this just floors me. So I want to take a look at one of these videos with one of these self-professing messiahs. And it's about 2 minutes, and he says a lot of things in these 2 minutes. Starts off kind of small and then gradually gets more blasphemous as the video goes on. But I want to I want you to see it, and then we'll react to it after it. You ready? Hold on to your seats.
Jesus was not a Christian. His name was not Jesus Christ. Christ was a title that was placed on him during the invention of Christianity about 300 years after his death. Jesus did not leave behind a formal organization in any way. He did not name a successor. He did not write any books. He did not organize a formal religion or an institution of any kind. Jesus did not believe in religion. He was anti-religion, just like I am. The Christian Bible was not written by God. The book of Matthew was not written by the Apostle Matthew. The book of Mark was not authored by the Apostle Mark. The Apostle Luke did not write the book of Luke, and the Apostle John did not write the book of John. All of these books were written many, many generations after the life and death of Jesus and his apostles. These books are written by unknown authors. The man who wrote the rest of the New Testament, Paul, was not a follower of Jesus. Paul spent most of his life hunting down the followers of Jesus and either imprisoning them or killing them. Paul was not a pious man. Paul was not an enlightened man. He was not a spiritual guru. Paul was certainly not Jesus. Christians do not worship Jesus. They do not follow his teachings or walk in his footsteps. Christians worship a book. A book is not God. A book is a false idol. The Bible was not written by God. The Bible was written by man. Very imperfect men, to be specific. In fact, Christianity is so far removed from the life and teachings of Jesus that a modern Christian would not even recognize the second coming if they were looking it in the eye.
Okay, so a lot of nonsense there. That guy was just spewing a whole bunch of, rubbish. So I want to address a couple of the things that he said. The first thing is this. He opens up by saying Christ was a title placed on him during the invention of Christianity 300 years after his death. Well, secular scholarship would disagree with that statement. Yes, Christ was a title, for sure. His last name wasn't Christ, so his name wasn't Jesus Christ. Christ was a title, but it's what followed that Christianity was invented and that this title was given to him 300 years after. Well, that is That is nonsense. Any good scholarship would disagree with that statement. So you have to be careful when you're watching people and they're saying, dates and names and all this kind of stuff, man. It's like, that is a flat out lie. And then he goes on to say that Jesus didn't leave a formal organization. Well, he instituted the church. He's the head of the church. So, formal organization, he started the church. Then he said Jesus didn't leave a successor. He's God. So, not really sure how you can be a successor of God himself. So, no need for a successor. And that Jesus didn't write books. That's weird. Didn't write books. Well, he's the living word. The entire Bible is about him. So, thirdly, that Jesus was anti-religion just like he is. This is that first statement that's just like, what are you insinuating, bro? That just like he is? Weird. Fourthly, and this is where he gets into the complete rejecting of the Bible. See, because this is what these guys have to do, and this is what all the criticizers of the Bible do is you have to spit on the Bible, make it seem like it's a bunch of nonsense, it's not true, it's all made up, it's all myth, it's all full of contradictions. You have to do that. You got to undermine the authority of the text. Why? Because then that's how you can create your own ideologies and worldviews and perspectives and start pushing lies into culture and getting people to buy into that, completely undermining what God has said. So this is what these guys have to do. So he says the Bible was not written by God. Well, if it's not written by God, just written by man, then guess what? You don't have to listen to it, and you can add to it, take away from it, because it's just man's words. See what they do there? And then he goes on to say, which is a popular critique of the Bible, well, Matthew didn't write Matthew. Mark didn't write Mark. Luke didn't write Luke. John didn't write John. Okay, well, there's debate on that subject, but let's just say that's true. The Bible is written by over 40 authors over the span of almost 2,000 years, right? And it has one underlying theme throughout. It's the most amazing book ever written. But yes, the author for every single book is not fully known. Okay? So let's just say Matthew didn't write Matthew. So, does that mean that then what's written in the book of Matthew, or the Gospel of Matthew, is now false? Like, that makes absolutely no sense. So this argument to me is just ridiculous, because Matthew didn't write Matthew. Some unknown man wrote it. Therefore, you don't have to listen to it. It's not written by God. It's just a bunch of nonsense. If Matthew didn't write Matthew, and Mark didn't write Mark, Luke didn't write Luke, blah, 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 someone very close to them, someone who was there, did. And so just because Matthew didn't write Matthew doesn't mean what he said wasn't true. This argument is stupid. And that they were written many generations and years after Jesus and the apostles. Again, you can date the earliest writings of the New Testament to within the same generation of the death of Jesus. So just in secular scholarship, we'll agree with that. So again, lies. And then he goes on to talk about Paul. Paul was not a follower of Jesus. Paul just imprisoned Christians and killed them. Well, yeah, he did that prior to his salvation. So prior to Paul's encounter with Jesus on the road to Damascus, yes, Paul was a persecutor of Christians. You're right. Then he got saved. So why did you leave that part out? Oh, I know why. Because you've already discredited the Bible so you can make it say and mean whatever you want it to say and mean. See? That's what they do. And that Paul wasn't a Christian. It's just like that's an embarrassing statement, man. And then the sixth thing I want to point out was Christians don't follow Jesus. We just worship a book. No, we don't worship a book. We worship the God of the book. And the book is his living word. It's his self-revelation of who he is and what he's done for us. So no, we don't worship a book, but we do worship the God of the book. All right? And then the last thing is we wouldn't recognize the second coming. And this is the most blasphemous thing he said. We wouldn't recognize the second coming even if it was staring at us in the face. What's he saying there? What are you saying, bro? That you're the second coming of Jesus? Like, I don't get how people could look at that and be like, maybe he's right. Maybe he's the second coming. Maybe he's the Messiah. Oh no. Like what? And people follow that? It's like, it blows my mind how gullible people are. It's like, who's following you? I just Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Daniel made a statement where basically he was like, I'm God. And then God struck him. God basically turned him into an animal for 7 years. You look at what God did to Pharaoh in Egypt when he was basically saying, I'm God. This is my world. This is my land. God's like, really? And so, man, these guys who come across and they say these insanely blasphemous statements, like, I wonder if God is just like getting ready to just unleash some healthy, holy wrath because, man, he's basically saying he's Jesus. That's dangerous, man. It's nonsense. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing, but it's dangerous. So the point of all of this is, if you're watching someone or you're listening to someone and they basically think they're the second coming of Jesus, they think they're God, they are, spitting on the Bible, yeah, you probably don't want to listen to them. Run away. Don't listen. Don't engage. Don't. And if you see people who are getting caught up in this stuff, help them. Help them. Boom. All right. Well, that's it for this edition of Tattooed Preacher Reactions. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to send more content and I'll react to it. Have an awesome rest of your day. Much love. God bless.